Welcome to another episode of Middle Ground with JLE LLC, where we treat you like family. That's the theme song, Detroit Love, off my first album, The JLE Experience. I own all music and copyright, so don't mute nothing Facebook. I got another amazing guest for you today. I have a fellow Wayne State University alum, Go Warriors, author, speaker, master leadership strategist, facilitator, podcaster, NAWBO, top businesswoman, aka Golden Soror, and owner CEO of Dr. Geneva Speaks LLC, Dr. Geneva J. Williams. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. Oh, it's so great to be here because I was grooving on that intro music. Hey, I can understand why you're the musician that you are, the creator.
Well, I'm gonna make something nice.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. First question: what led you to this path?
This path that I'm on? Well, when you're asked that question, I always have to reach back and, people do that. And that's the truth with me. I grew up in a small town on the Jersey Shore. Okay. And my sister and I used to always think the adults in the community would go somewhere and meet on us because they always knew our business. They always talked about us, and they were asking endless questions and gave constant advice. They were asking about my grades, what about Girl Scouts? Had I finished those college applications? And Jeffrey, it wasn't just the family who was asking it, but the school janitor, the lady down the street, the corner candy store, everybody was on my case and in my business. In fact, so much so that my sister and I thought it was a conspiracy.
They had the fans watching.
That's right. That's right. Today, I understand it to be the symptoms of what it was with a caring community. And so that's what really made the difference in growing up, and then also. I'm getting this feedback. I don't know if it's just me, but also at the same time, my parents were civil rights activists, ordinary people. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a government worker. They placed high priority in working in the community and fighting injustices in education and housing and employment. So those two forces, this caring community of adults everywhere I went, always, on my case, always wanting me to succeed, and they cared about me, clear, coupled with the leadership and advocacy that I got from my parents, really led me to where I am now. And that really put me on the path. Of course, I didn't know about it when I left college, moving around, stumbled into my things, but I really stumbled into my purpose. So that's how, I got here. And so that's why I've been in the caring business, the creating this community consensus, working on initiatives and those kinds of things that make children and families stronger. And then moved into the business that I'm doing today, which really is just an extension of that. I just work more with individuals now in helping them transform their lives and be their vibrant selves.
Okay, well, we got a few people so far chiming in. Trina says hello.
I see Trina. How you doing? It's my girl. How you
family,
doing?
Of course.
Oh.
Tisha. Two of my favorite people in one spot. Hi, Jeff and Dr. Geneva. She's showing love, give LinkedIn. All right, now, Dr. Geneva, love these stories. Hi, Jeff. I love the laughter here. We always gonna have a good time at the middle ground. You gotta do that. This ain't
middle
Dan
ground.
Rather.
I love it.
Cool conversation. Now, speaking of that business, what is Dr. Geneva Speaks LLC?
Well, Jeffrey, we're a leadership and personal development company. Okay. And working with individuals as well as nonprofit organizations to help them grow and develop and be all they can be. With individuals, we really help, particularly women, transform their mindset into confidence, grow their businesses, careers, themselves, so that they can live a vibrant life. With organizations, particularly nonprofit organizations, it's a similar kind of thing. We work to help them grow and develop so that they can, take care of, deliver the mission that we're created to be. And so all of that is about growth, development, personally and professionally. So, we do coaching and counseling and consulting, speaking, and join fabulous folk like you to have great conversations about things that matter.
I'm humbled and honored by it. And Amy says hello as well.
Oh, hey, Amy, how you doing?
You Hall of Famer in these streets. They're like, hey, we got to see what's going on. She on here. So, transition to your fellow author. What inspired you to write a book and the name of your book?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have several books. But when you talk about what inspired me, probably I immediately think about the book about my dad. Okay. So as I mentioned to you, my dad was an ordinary man, government worker, educated man, tall, dark, and handsome, real tall, played basketball star.
Billy D style.
He's growing up in this small town on the Jersey Shore. And when he and my mom go to get a home built, their first home ever, he had come back from the war. He was now working for the government, had a decent job. My mom was a teacher. And so they could afford, and they wanted to build this home. And after several trips to the development office, they kept being turned away and excuses, and they didn't understand. And so this one Sunday they go with my minister, their pastor, and they get the same old runaround. And finally my pastor says to the guy, well, why can't you give Mr. Jones an application? And the guy says, well, I just have to be honest with you. We don't build homes for Negroes.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, right? You knew where that story was going to go, but maybe this is perhaps what you wouldn't have known. And that is, my father decided that he wasn't going to take that. He felt that it was so important, not just for him to be able to live the American dream, but for everyone he knew who looked like him to be able to do the same. So that began a legal battle that lasted for 3 years, all the way to the state Supreme Court. And he won in a unanimous decision, a landmark case. And that changed housing laws in New Jersey forever. And the court told the developer, you build Mr. Jones his home. And so I wanted to tell that story and the many other stories of my dad and my mom fighting for justice in, terms of housing, education. He was the leader in the desegregation of the schools. In employment, he really opened the doors for so many to get jobs. And so that's what he did. He fought with my mom right by his side. So I wrote a book about that. I called it Justice on the Jersey Shore. And while, of course, it's centered on his legal battle, it really is a story about an ordinary person who is called upon to create and do things for others and turns out to be extraordinary, making extraordinary impact through leadership, through, a selflessness that I think is a very important characteristic of leaders, to try to make it better for others. And so he and I started out, we were going to write this book together.
Okay, that's awesome.
So I sat at the table and recorded him in the home that he got built after all of those years. And we recorded and recorded and we recorded. And it was tough for both of us because I had just lost my husband of 40 years to cancer. And my mom had just passed. So here we were, two widows, recently became widows, sitting there trying to recreate a life of advocacy, service, civil rights activism. And so there was a lot of crying and grieving. And it's funny, Jeffrey, because I had heard the stories growing up, so many different stories. But this gave me the chance to really go behind the scenes because I was a young girl and really didn't understand a lot of what was happening. Like when my mom would always, it would seem the phone would always be ringing and she would always have these very short, abrupt conversations. And I never knew why growing up, but those were the hate calls that they would get, the death threats. And there was this constant back and forth of that I really never knew about. And I never knew why my parents were so strict on me, not letting me go all the places all the other kids went to. But that was because there were so many death threats on our family. And so, but I got a chance, Jeffrey, to go behind the scenes. So Justice on the Jersey Shore. That's right there. The book. Yeah, it's on Amazon. That's awesome. Yeah, it launched as an Amazon bestseller, and so it's still there. But so that's what inspired me. That this was a big one. But since then, I've written Living Life Over 50.
Right there. Okay.
And a series of ebooks that deal with creating your best life, your best, most vibrant life, finding your purpose. I just completed a goal-setting workbook for entrepreneurs, and all of those you can on my website. So I love to write and provide that kind of information and value to people.
Well, you had a front row seat to real life superheroes that was making a difference in the community.
Yeah.
Keeping that tradition going, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Now, you touched on speaking. What made you jump into that arena?
Well, again, I have to take that back to, my upbringing. I remember when I was in middle school and Jeffrey, I came home one day very upset because the teacher was giving a history lesson and there were photos and words in this book depicting Black people that I didn't know anything about, wasn't part of my experience of what Black people were, who they were. And so I was very upset about that. And so I go running home and I tell my mom and my dad, and almost in unison, they tell me that, well, what you need to do is tomorrow go back to school and speak up and tell the teacher, what you feel and that you don't appreciate it. And that's not your experience. And that's not who you are as a Black person. And so I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, who, me? I'm in middle school, understand? I'm in middle school. And I said, I ain't gonna do that because I wasn't thinking about them books at the time. I was thinking about what all the kids would say about me. You know how it is at that age, middle school now.
Oh yeah, you're stupid.
You know how that is. They insist insisted, and you know how it is, Jeffrey. Sometimes when your parents say something that you got to do, or else the consequences will be worse than anything.
That whooping coming. You don't want that whooping. You don't want that one.
So I go back to school the next day, and I, nervous as anything, but I speak up and I tell the teacher how I feel, express my opinions. And I was flabbergasted. I was surprised that the teacher really listened, and the kids, they thought I was cool by speaking up. And that lesson for me, that personal lesson of, if you believe it, if you care about it, if it's important, you must find the way to speak up, speak out, speak about it, speak on it, speak with it. Is just became a part of what I am and what I do, until one time when I lost my voice, and when I lost it for a while. And then when I finally found it again, that's when I named, or rather renamed, my company Dr. Geneva Speaks.
Okay. Well, I got a story similar, but it wasn't the rainbows and good stuff you had.
I want to hear, what's your story?
11th grade at Cooley High School. History month, the teacher wants to put on Roots. Okay. Everybody in class, okay, I'm like, man, hold on, bro. I'm not about to watch how my people been treated like dogs. They made a Dr. King movie back then in the 90s, 80s. You got something else you can show me more positive than watching this. That's why I'm with that jump over broom crap, because then they were rape the female. So why you want me to watch this all week? Jeff, you like, nah, you ain't brainwashed me, bro. No, this is not who we are. Pick another film. Well, if you don't want to watch it, I'll go to the library. I'll holler at y'all in a week. They like, dang, Jeff, what you like? You want to come into class because it's still programming your mind. If you try to talk to the girl or your homie, you still, and that's nothing positive. I get that's that guy's story, but the imagery shown was not nothing positive of our people. So why I want to watch that for Black History Month? I know that already.
Got it. So you wanted to see something else that could just as even better portray our people
positive
in a different life.
Going on, Black people. Now we slaves and get treated like dogs. Like, really? I know that story already. I ain't about to come to school and look at this. I want to be here anyway. I want to talk to the girls. I can't do that. Hearing all this injustice, like, nah, man, you messing up the vibe. I can't be here. Can't do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, that's the thing about speaking up. It's really, when you speak up, or when you say, when you're yourself, when you're authentic, you just got to do it. And not really think about, although it's hard sometimes, but the consequences or what other people think, because your words will make a difference. And that's a lot about, creating impact.
Hey, my friends had jokes back then. Like, they go baby Malcolm. Like, for real, Malcolm X. Now, like, no, I'm not about to watch some slave stuff in class. No. Go on, bro. Find something else. I'm pretty sure y'all made something positive. It was 1995. You had years before me. There's something out here. I know it is. Besides that. Malcolm X, watch that. Think about it. That was out already.
It's very interesting. No, I was just thinking about perspective and how interesting it is. In my when Roots came out, and of course, our generations are different. In my generation, when Roots came out, it really was a major story, because nothing like that had ever been portrayed on TV, so that you would have it. Now, years later now, though, as you say, we're in a different place. We have so many stories that now, so many movies, so many depictions about the Black experience, that we don't have to do that. That can be archived, so it's just very interesting in terms of the different perspectives, which I think that is why one of the things, Jeffrey, as I work with women, I talk about the importance of being aware of yourself, knowing your values, understanding your perspectives and your views on things, because that helps lead to your purpose. So it's all tied together.
Absolutely. I may have asked, like, let's watch Malcolm X, but you want to do that one. Those fun days. Oh, this point of the show, the market, everything you have going
on. You mean what I've got going on with my company? And
this is time to promote and market you. Go ahead. Whatever you got, talk about it.
Well, now, we talked about this before we got on the air. And remember, you said this is your show. And I said, this is your show. We kind of went back and forth on that, right? But then if I remember, when I heard you were a musician and then I got an album, I did ask you if during the show you kind of dropped some notes down for us, right? So if I tell you what's going on in my neck of the woods, then right after I'm finished, I'm going to put a note or two, right?
Okay.
All right, good. Well, as I mentioned, Jeffrey, I just finished. One of the things I've just done is to put together for 2023 a goal setting workbook. And it's particularly for entrepreneurs and coaches, but really for anyone who wants to get into goal setting. Because, I do goals. I'm a goal queen. And I've been trained academically in it in terms of my background, but also I've practiced it for 30, 40 years in setting goals. And so I put everything that I knew and know about goal setting, particularly as it relates to if you're running a business or thinking about starting a business, how you have to figure out your learning style, how you have to figure out your value so you can decide how much you're going to charge things, what kinds of tools and resources you should be using, how you can invest in yourself, which is should be part of your goal setting for 2023. And then also how you can make the world, your community, a better place, which if we want to talk about being successful as an entrepreneur in particular, or just frankly, Jeffrey, being successful as a musician, being successful in life, it's important for us to include in our agenda how we can contribute to our community, either to young people, to families, in our religious organizations at church, whatever it is. We have I believe, a responsibility as adults to give back to our community. And so I've put together this goal setting workbook. So that was fun. And then our whole team is busy for the holidays. And we're really, doubling down on the ways that you can look good, feel good, and do good at any age during the holiday season. So we're doing a lot of lifestyle tips and value and how you can decorate your home affordably, but have it look nice, and how you can take care of yourself, what the kinds of things you should be doing in terms of journaling and all those kinds of things, during this holiday season that can make you feel good and also look good and radiate that confidence and energy that matches this season. And so we're doing, I'm doing a lot of videos and lives and giving advice and kind conversation on this whole topic and tips, and that's fun. Doing a lot of speaking. I just finished a really, Jeffrey, a really interesting seminar with sponsored by United Way and DTE, with a group of retirees. And they were interested in creating the next you. How do you do that? If you're retired, you're not done yet, but what do you do next? And so this is one of my specialty areas. And so, the conversation about creating the next you. I also happen to have written a book called Creating the Next You. And so I am somewhat of an expert in it, a seasoned expert in this topic. And so I spent some good time with them talking about the top 5 strategies to discover your purpose, to really have success in your second act. And the thing about it, Jeffrey, is, these conversations and tips and strategies that I have and I share are really for those at any age, because it really isn't about being in retirement. It's more about the life transition you're going through. And all of us at any age go through life transitions, a new job, a career, a loss of a loved one, retirement, starting a new career, starting a new business, moving. There's tons of different transitions. And so what's important, Jeffrey, is that as I work with my clients, because I also do private coaching, as I work with my clients, take them through this what's next formula that I developed that helps them, shift from, being nervous, concerned, uncertain in whatever transition they're facing, to becoming much more confident, understanding and finding their purpose, and all those things that are necessary so they can live a vibrant life. So that's the teachings that, I do and we're doing now. And so those are the kinds of things that we're involved in, but you can always keep up, Jeffrey, with me by going to, I'm on all social media platforms at Dr. Geneva Speaks, including TikTok. Okay. And you can visit me at my website, and there is just lots of information, step-by-step guides and resources and value for those who are interested in what their next step could be, how they can confidently face all the challenges they've got, life transitions, etc. And so I just poured out, those things that I've learned as a seasoned expert in transformation and how you can go from point A to point B and do it vibrantly.
That's awesome. A lot of great stuff going on.
A lot of great stuff. Jeffrey, I wanted to tell you that I'm a late life entrepreneur.
Okay, no wrong with that.
Yeah, I'd always had this dream of starting my business. And so after my nonprofit career in United Way and with doing philanthropy and raising millions of dollars for community initiatives and working with individuals and organizations to transform neighborhoods, after years and years of doing that, I decided in my late 60s to start a business, so that I could have my own platform.
There you go.
Set out my own message in the way that I wanted to bring it. And shortly after I think I had mentioned, shortly after I started my business, just a few months, my husband, Otha, got his first diagnosis of cancer. Then my mom got sick, my dad got sick, and that began a time of caring for them and burying all of them within a short amount of time. And so this joy and excitement that I felt about starting this new business so late in my life, quote unquote, really, I faced another major transformation that I had never, ever faced before. And that was being at a this age, being without the 3 people in my entire life that I had never been without, who supported me, loved me unconditionally. And so I had to recreate and find purpose again. And that's one of the things about finding purpose, Jeffrey, is that it's really just, it's not episodic. You know, like you find it, you got it, you done with it. Usually, as you go through different stages in your life and face different transitions, you got to stop. It's important to stop and re-examine your life and figure out if you have to reinvent or recreate what you have, and it's okay. So that's what I ended up doing, and I found my meaning in what I call the dash, and that's that horizontal stroke between when you're born, you know, and when you pass, because I was looking at it, dealing with and writing so many obituaries that my focus was really, I kept looking and seeing that dash wherever I went. It was always in my mind. I couldn't get rid of it. So I finally decided one day to just stop and just take a deep breath and look at that dash and find out what it meant. And I realized that, you know, really that was life. That was meaning. That was purpose. Because those 3 people that I saw with that dash on their obituaries, that's what I remembered. That was the legacy. That was the meaning. That was where my heart was. And that's what it is for all of us, Jeffrey, that this in the living is where we need to find our meaning and live it out, where we need to discover our purpose and make it happen. And so I was able to crawl out of that depression, deep depression and grief that I was in. It was hard. And, you know, God helped me through it. But I had to recreate myself after that life transition. So I discovered and learned so much that my purpose today is to share that wisdom that I learned for how you can handle transition and how you can figure out next steps, as well as how you can do those things so that you can confidently be all that you want to be, and you can, you know, design your life the way you want to. And all of those things that I learned about that and transformation, that's what I do today.
That's pretty awesome. So you want something serious, or you just kind of vibing off the theme song, something more?
Well, I figured while I was rapping it for your audience and everything, it was going through your head, but you was figuring out what you was going to sing now. Now, you know that was running through your head while I was talking. You was listening to me. I know you were. But that other side, because, you know, we can listen with one ear, and on the other ear, we kind of think, what am I going to sing? What am I going to sing? So, you know, you don't need to give no, you know, you go on. Come on. You
okay,
know
okay, Dr. I got you.
This is your show.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
That 313 Detroit raised me. Detroit's in me. Can't nothing stop me. 313 Detroit love, the Motor City. Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love. For you, Dr. D.
All right. Hey there. All right. Is that the first time you've sung on your show, on your podcast?
Huh? Maybe the second.
Okay. Well,
maybe the second time, but not put on spot like that.
Yeah, but see, you a musician, so it ain't nothing about being put on the spot. Yeah. That's why you create, right? Okay.
Yeah,
that's why you create. No, listen now. That's why you create. And if you hold back from it, every time you hold back, you deny somebody somewhere, the joy of hearing it. Okay. So I think you should incorporate that in part of Middle Ground, your podcast.
I'm gonna have to start doing that.
Why not? Hey, sounds good to me. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for sharing that. 311 Detroit. Yes, love that. Is that part of your album that you were talking about? That you
the Jail Experience. That's track 3, Detroit Love.
Oh, okay. Is that an original? I mean,
original song.
Oh, so you wrote it?
Yep.
So you write and sing. Now you see, that's what I mean about
and create the music.
And what? And what?
And create the music as well.
Yeah. Okay. So see, when we talk about purpose, you certainly discovered yours.
Yeah. I expect to be doing this. I mean, a lot of amazing people. Getting put on the spot, that's an awesome person.
You said you didn't expect to be doing this?
Nope. I just wanted to do a podcast. I didn't know it would take me to helping people find their purpose.
So what
humbled by it.
So what pushed you into it? How'd you get to it?
When I finished my Wayne State degree and I got it in the mail, I posted on LinkedIn for the first time that, be the hardest work in the room. You can do anything. And it got like 3,000 views. And my first guest, Chris Mattoon, reached out to me. I found out he wrote a book. And I interviewed him. Then he put me on to Major Shepherd L., another Detroit author. Then I'm interviewing people now. Like, I had journalism at Cooley back in the day, so I guess I need to dust off. And I interviewed Isaiah Thomas at one time, and just start watching more people shows from that perspective. Okay, well, you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. Then God, he like to tap on the shoulder, like, okay, keep interviewing everybody, all job types. And then when I met Tisha, shout out to her and all the great people on here, on the names she gave me.
Yes.
It became where people mess with the middle ground. Some I reached out to before, if I get it, stranger danger. Who is this guy? What are you talking about? Then they might check out the show, like, oh, I want to be a part of that. And I ain't mad because I would do it. I'm like, who is you? Let me go look you up. I don't know you from Detroit. I don't know you like that. So I understand. But it's been growing, and I'm very humbled that I have a great product that's going to become global and profitable soon.
There you go.
I will be in season 9 by January, I believe.
Ooh, season 9. Fantastic. Well, again, congratulations, and I think your story is so illustrative of the purpose finding adventure, I like to call it, that each of us must and should take, and we can. It can be scary. You can say, how did I get here? What am I doing? I'm not sure what's going on.
Doc, you don't even know, man.
Oh, but I do.
Yeah, you do.
But the thing is that you did it, and you can do it, and it's an important story. It's an important story to tell yourself, to talk about, to share with young people and others who are, looking for a similar kind of thing, but perhaps don't, have, aren't willing to take the step, or don't know how to take the step, or don't know what to do next. And then helping people, kind of figure that out, I think is so valuable. But again, congratulations to you on your 9th season.
Yeah, wow. And I rebooted back in March of last year. And well, I've already been threatened by Mary. I got to get 1,000 episodes. So I'm just walking away. I don't want to get jumped. She's good people, though. But I've noticed people, after they've been a guest, if they wasn't that very active on LinkedIn, they be blowing up the spot.
Okay.
So you come on the middle ground, you do kind of springboard to doing what you do a little bit more, I noticed.
Oh, well, great. Oh, that's wonderful.
I ain't mad at that. Ain't a please. And The buzz of you on the show, I already know you're Hall of Fame out in these streets. Because I'm like, dang, people be showing up, but they like, oh, who's that? I gotta get on your show. Where is it at? Like, oh, I'm on YouTube, on here. Like, okay, I'm with it. So, next question.
Bye, Amy. I just wanted to say goodbye to Amy because she said she has a meeting and has to run. Okay. Thank you, Amy, for joining.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that. What is a master leadership strategist?
Well, Jeffrey, that's just another way to say I know what I'm doing in leadership.
Okay.
I mean,
Hey, Poppy Collar, I feel you.
No, I mean, I'm going to lay it out there because I just don't say it. I try to, actually bring it and help people. But so I've been in leadership positions in organizations. I've actually led organizations. I've led boards. I've sat on boards. I've led boards like I was a chair of the board of Western Michigan University. I was chair of the Detroit Compact. I've been on the school board, Detroit School Board. I've led organizations. I was the first female and Black executive of United Way. So I've actually been in leadership positions 20, 30 years. I've also been academically trained. So my doctorate is in educational leadership. My master's is in social planning and community organization, where one of the things you learn is how to help communities lead. So you have to learn a lot about leadership and the development of public policy and community organization. And so with the combination Jeffrey, of the academic and the practical, the practitioner. That's why I say I'm very seasoned in the leadership. So, but here's why I think it's important, and here's why I talk about and want to let people know that when we talking about leadership and some of this transformation issues, et cetera, that I am a seasoned expert. But I want you to know is that I just don't talk it. I've been there. I've done it. So with my long-lived experience, there's very few roles, if any, particularly in nonprofit world or in life that we hold as, mothers, wives, career people, roles that I haven't experienced. So when I talk about, well, why don't you try this? Or here's a strategy for you, or this resource might work. I've tried it. When you bring those various issues or experiences, oftentimes I've been there, done that. But I don't want to but I'm not telling you that to say I've been there, done there, to pop my collar. I'm telling you that to let you know that you do have, and here is someone who's been there, who's at this stage in life is still out here trying to drop pearls of wisdom, share and help. And so that's, what I do and where I am. Thank you. And I just wanted to add that when I was, doing my reimagining, one of the things and trying to find my way for my next act, I said, I want to keep living. I know the people who were, my mom and dad and my husband. And, I was married 40 years. It was a good marriage.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And my husband and I, he's a Detroiter. And I was from New Jersey. I was living in Philly at the time, had no thought about Detroit. Okay? No. No. But my mom was very active in this national organization, and they were having a convention in Detroit, and she wanted me as a guest speaker. So I said, okay, fine. But I said, I'm going to go there. And then let me tell you this, Jeffrey. Let me tell you the secret. I was seeing this guy in Minnesota. And so my plan was to come to Detroit, give the speech, make my mom happy, and then leave there and fly to Minnesota. Okay.
Okay, Pimp. I've seen
cool. You know, I mean, you hear that? You know, I was young. I was in my 20s.
Hey, do your thing.
You know,
Play on, play.
Okay, so that's what I was going to do my piece. So I did my piece. Well, also at this conference was this tall, dark, handsome man who also was giving a speech. Long story short, we met each other. And 3 days later, we were talking about getting married. It was one of those love at first sight. Wow. And about 10 months later, we were married, and we were together for 40 years. That's and beautiful. You know the PS to that story, Jeffrey? I never made it to Minnesota. Okay, from that Detroit conference. I never, made it there. I stayed right in Detroit with him. And so, so I had never any idea of coming. But once
some good brothers in the D. There's some good brothers out here.
I did, so I've raised my children here, and my family's been here, and I've made a career in life here, and it's been wonderful, and brings me to have great conversations with people like you.
Yes, and you're awesome. Now, this next amazing pearl on your stat sheet, I'm calling your LinkedIn profile. What is an NAWBO top businesswoman?
Oh, that's the NAWBO, the National Association of Women Business Owners. Okay. It's a national organization, NAWBO. Gotcha. And yes, they named me as one of 10 top businesswomen in Michigan.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so again, Jeffrey, that coming through that transition of that, hey, it was deep and dark and didn't know where I was going to go. So I needed to find another purpose. I needed to step forward, find another purpose, reimagine myself, recreate my life. And so 5 years later, here I am, my business is doing good. And those are some of the things that happen.
Now you're a fellow podcaster with Ignite to Impact.
Ignite to Impact. Ignite to Impact is great conversations like this, and then also conversations that I have with my listeners and watchers, my followers, about things, about leadership, development, personal growth, how, confidence, how you can transform your mindset into that confidence and, grow yourself to design any kind of life that you want so that your life can be very, very vibrant. So we talk about things like confidence, work-life balance, which I tend to think is work-life harmony, self-care, life strategy, life transitions, next steps, burnout, those topics that really make a difference in the lives of executives, entrepreneurs, and leaders who are trying to grow themselves and their businesses or their careers.
Okay.
So I bring on guests and also just do some stuff myself.
Hey, I was doing that for the longest. Pop the trunk with the Anchor app.
Yes, you'll have to come on and be one of my guests.
Oh, hey, just let me know the day and time and I'm there.
Okay.
No problem. Now we need to end. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
Wow. I think the biggest challenge is, for me, has been trying to do all the things that I can do to make a difference in the world. That's one of my values. And knowing and understanding what's important to you, your core values, Jeffrey, is another one of those important steps in finding and discovering your purpose. And one of my values is making a difference. And there's so much to be done, so many things that can be done. And sometimes it becomes very challenging to figure out, well, what's the best way to make a difference? So that is perhaps one. But most of my life and career has been about, not so much about the challenges, because there's been a ton of them, because you can't make these testimonies, you can't talk about it.
You gotta go through something.
No testimony,
yeah, no
test. You gotta have that test. But really, it's been more about, many of the challenges have been opportunities to meet new people, to grow, to experience, to, raise a family, to be the best that I can for my children and for my husband, and to live a vibrant life, to learn how to, this thing that I talk about, living life over 50, secrets to finding love, your vibrant style, and what's next for you. And so, that's really what most of my life has been. Now, I will tell you, as I talk with my clients all the time, the isms, racism, sexism, and ageism are alive and well, and they continue to challenge those of us who are out there trying to make a difference, which is pretty much everybody, because those isms are there in the world. They continue to challenge us. So a lot of the strategies and resources and things that I help my clients with is how to overcome the challenges of the isms. And one of the big ones of that, we're all familiar with that racism and sexism, but this ageism one is real as well. Whether you're like me, where people say, shouldn't you be retired by now? Or why don't you go somewhere and sit down? Okay. You're too old, or, those ageism, whether it's that side or the other side, that a lot of our, millennials, and then what is it, Z's that come behind the millennials are facing, but particularly our millennials, where people say, well, you too young. Why are you out here? You too young. So so ageism goes both ways. Okay. All right. So you're discriminated against, or negative perceptions because of your age, etc. So those isms continue to be a big challenge for folk. But again, I think that's part of the process and the strategies that we put together to deal with those isms that probably won't go away, not in my lifetime. But
unfortunately,
again, how do we deal with them and move forward, and continue to be vibrant and live that life we want to live?
Okay. And what has been your impact through your business ventures on this journey, you think?
The impact of
that you've had since you've been doing your journey?
Well, I hope it's been good. I hope there's been impact. Certainly, I know that, I've, with the followers I have on social media now, over 30,000,
nice.
the number of clients that I have with a number of organizations that I consult with. And then through my career, I've, worked with hundreds of individuals in transforming neighborhoods and communities and working on important issues. I've raised lots of dollars, over $120 million for various community issues and helping various businesses and organizations grow. I've led a number of organizations and held those kinds of positions, started new organizations, et cetera. So my hope is that the impact is there. But I think, Jeffrey, what's for me most important, because my record, I'm proud of it, so I ain't gonna put it down. So I'm not gonna say more important, but also most important for me is that young people, millennials and Gen Xers, particularly those who are women executives, entrepreneurs, and leaders, that they learn and figure out their next steps and how they can be most impactful. So that continues to be my mission. And that's what I want to do and continue to make an impact that way, so that many of the leaders who are coming up now, who are here, who are, also serving as important role models for young people, in fact, become the best that they can be, because not only for themselves, keep themselves strong and empowered, but so that they, in fact, can model for generations to come. And so that's why I do the work that I do and try to create that kind of impact, in what I do, because I feel I'm a role model myself. So I have to walk the talk. And so creating impact is what I need to do so that I can, in fact, influence others to do the same, and to show that, I've been down this path. And as a seasoned person in this work, let's do this, let's do that. Let's do this together. So I'm not ready to pass the baton and walk away.
I got you.
But I am ready. I'm ready and able and still in the race,
nice.
Running side by side with our young leaders, helping them not stumble or fall.
And last question, what advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
Give yourself permission to change.
Okay.
Oftentimes when we are trying to figure out our purpose or meaning, or we stop and we're reflecting on, am I doing the things that I really want to do? What's important? Do I want to, stop working for someone else and start my new business? Do I want to write that book that I've always dreamed about? Do I want to travel to places? Do I want to have my finances in a place that, makes me feel good and makes sense for me and allows me to do things? Whatever point we're at when we're asking or thinking about our purpose, it's important to give ourselves the okay to change. Because usually, if we want to go the next step, it requires doing something different, stepping outside the comfort zone, taking risk, and not being a perfectionist, and really stepping out there. So this notion that it's okay to do this, and I can say to myself, hey, you got permission to do this. So that's the thing I would say, that give yourself permission to take risk, to fall down and fail and get back up and move forward. Give yourself permission to do that. It's okay. And it's going to be all right.
Well, that's some great advice. You've been an amazing guest.
Well,
hope you enjoyed being on the middle ground.
And you've been an amazing song. I mean, you were singing them notes, so back at you.
Let's love. All right. Well, we want to thank fellow Wayne State alum, University alum, author, speaker, master leadership strategist, facilitator, podcaster, NAWBO top businesswoman, aka Golden Soror.
Yeah, we didn't talk about AKA, Golden Soror, in case
hold on.
Now. I got to at least say.
Go ahead, rep your set. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, for those people, many people who perhaps just don't know what a Golden Soror is in the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, it's a special designation for those of us who've been in the sorority 50 years or more. And this November 7th, in fact, 54 years ago, I became a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha at Morgan State University, Alpha Delta chapter, where my mother went and became an AKA woman there as well. So there's a legacy and a tradition in this for me. And, you know, I just love my soror. So I just wanted to, I couldn't leave, Jeffrey. I just couldn't leave without dropping that. So Jeffrey, so listen, so Jeffrey, catch me living vibrantly. Okay.
I will. We want to thank CEO, owner of Dr. Geneva Speaks, LLC, Dr. Geneva J. Williams, for sharing her journey and her knowledge, advice, and a great time in the show.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, Jeffrey. Next time, you'll be on mine. So I look forward to that. Happy holidays to you and yours.
You too.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one. All right. No, great show. JLE World, JLE Experience is out. All digital media outlets. Books out. Check on Amazon. Hope everybody have a safe leading up to the holiday, because everybody gonna be out here doing that stuff, tripping. So have a great time. Do something for yourself. And I should be doing another one in a little bit with my brother that's in music. It's gonna be another great show. Till next time, everybody, have fun.
313 Detroit love, the Motor City. Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love, that 313. Detroit raised me. Detroit